section bubbles. So let's open up our template file, the one where we left off of, and we can just filter these to show only the RTEs. So there's our last one that we did. So we just saved 206. Let's do a save as 207. Begin. Okay, now let's do a save as complete. Again, we're just marking where we left off. Now we have a little bit of catching up to do in our project notes. Let's just add a couple more things to this. So we just did setting up the grid heads, and next we're going to set up section heads. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. Let's go to a plan view. So in our project browser, let's go to floor plans and then level 1. And let's draw a section. Okay, I'll hit escape a couple times. There it is. So we can click on that section. Let's just see what we can do with this out of the box. So we can click on that. We can click on edit type, and we can change some things here. So it says, what's the family? The system family is a section. The type is a building section. So this is sort of an overarching type of section for what we call building sections. You also have wall sections. And for this type of view, it uses a specific callout tag, which we'll get to later, and a section tag. Now, the section tag is actually comprised of 3 pieces, and that is the head, which is this, the end, and then the type of line that's going to be in there if we ever jog the section. So let's just say OK to that, and I'm going to show you where you can find all 3 of those things together. If you go to Manage, Additional Settings, and then we go to Section Tags, we can see here that you've got System Family Section Tags. So we could duplicate this. Maybe we'll call this one Section 1. And for the head, we want it to be a specific family. We're going to make one of these and load it in. The section tail, we'll just use what they've given us. And then when you start to break the section or jog it, it's going to give you a specific type of line, gapped or continuous. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to say OK, and we're going to go to the application menu, New, Family. Okay, so let's go to Annotations, and then we're going to go to Section Head. So this is our starting template. We found this just in our C program data, Autodesk, etc. file, but you have to make sure that it's under the family templates, and then under Annotations, under Section Head, and OK. Good, so let's do a save as, and we'll call this one 0207 section head begin. So then we have our template saved in its original state, and then we'll do a save as, and I'll call this one complete. Just going to look under options, make sure the maximum backups is just 1, and we'll save that. So let's read their note to us. Note, intersection of horizontal and right ref planes. So these are these ones here. Intersection of horizontal and right ref planes define connection location with system line. Do not move horizontal and right ref plane. Delete this note before using. Okay. So here we are, just the bare bones of what the section's going to be. We're going to put a label in. So let's go to Home. Let's go to Label. And let's drop a label in. So this is going to be the detail number. And let's drop another one in. We'll make that the sheet number. Now notice here you can put in a lot more. Like you can put in a detail number with referencing sheet numbers, referencing details, view names. You can really expand upon these so they can be bidirectional bubbles. So the bubbles will know where they are. It'll tell you what sheet they're on, and it'll tell you what sheet they're going to. So some people like to do that. We're just going to do sort of a basic conventional one, which is the detail and sheet of where it is. So it's telling you where to look. When we get into the actual view titles, we can tell it what sheet it came from. I find that can be very useful when doing sections. Okay, so we'll put those in there. Now notice they're the aerial type again. So this is getting to be a recurring theme. We're going to actually have to go in edit the type, duplicate it. We'll call this one label 1. And we'll say OK to that, and we'll make it stylus. 330 seconds, sure. And everything else we'll just leave. Say OK to that. And now this one I can just choose label 1. And we can just even stretch those down just to see if we're centered. Looks like we can maybe move that over a little bit. Just missing one thing, and that's the arrow. Usually we're going to want to point that arrow up in this particular case. So let's draw that in. Let's go to Home, Line. And what we can do is just draw something like this. Then we can pick on those lines, and we can use the rotate command. Just make sure we put the rotate right at the center, and then we can rotate that up. Now that's not filled. You can have it so it is filled. You can have it so it extends beyond. You could draw anything you want there actually, but we're just going to keep it as this. We might just add in the fill. How do you add the fill? That's with a filled region. So we'll click on filled region, and we could just use pick lines, and we could say pick that, that, and that. I'm going to hit escape twice and then type in TR. That will trim. And then we say OK. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, there we go. In fact, we really didn't even need those lines there, but they're good as a reference, so we can leave them. Let's save that as complete, and let's click on Load into Project. It's not there yet, so what we're going to have to do is just click on this section mark, and let's go into Edit Type. This is usually where people get thrown off because they don't see it here either. It's one more step in. So remember when we went to Manage, Additional Settings, Section Heads, we made sort of an overarching style called Section 1. Under that, we can say it's our new style, which is 0207. All right, then we say OK to that. Now we go back to our section, and we can go into it and say Edit Type. And we should have one in there, okay, called Section 1. Okay, so you just have to do as I do. I just clicked on that little extra button. I went and changed the type to Section 1, and then I say OK. What it's really doing here is it's changing 3 things at once. That's the section head, the tail, and then the broken section display style. So let's just do that, and we'll be happy with that for now. Okay, so there it is. Now that looks a little bit more like an elevation tag. Let's go in and fix this. I'm going to just do an Alt-Tab. Okay, let's pick up this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it and copy it. Okay, so let's just move it down to there. Okay, and then we're going to click on that region, click on Edit Sketch, and draw that in. TR. Good, we just trimmed that. I'll delete that line. So we're just making it so the sketch is just that piece of it. And we can say OK to that. And we'll click on this piece. We'll use the mirror tool. Now I used the pick axis tool. Didn't really work because I don't really have anything to pick. Let's use this one, which is the draw axis. Then I can pick the center and pick straight down. And there we go. Okay, so we'll save that. Load that into the project. Let's overwrite. There it is. So that looks a little bit cleaner. Now let's click on the section, just flip it, make sure that's all working. Good. If we zoom in, you can see it's just the thickness of the line is really what's doing that little bit right there. So how do we see the text in this section head? Well, what we're going to do is make a sheet. So we're going to right click and say New Sheet. Now we don't have the new title block that we made, so now would be a good time to load that in. Let's click on Load. And let's go to our folder, and we're going to look for the title block complete. Good. And then let's just say Open. And OK. There we go. Okay, so there's our title block, and we have a sheet. Let's drag and drop level 1 onto the sheet. Now, it's a little bit big for the sheet right now, and things aren't perfect, but we're going to adjust that in a second. Let's put it on just thereabouts. Now we're going to start another sheet. So I'm going to right click on sheet, say new sheet, same title block as before. And let's bring that section that we made. So let's go to sections. There's the section right there, section 1, and just drag and drop that onto our sheet. That way we can see how our level heads are looking, as well as when we go back to A101, we can see here, there it is. So that section is on A102, and that's what our text looks like. Okay, looks fine for now. Okay, so let's go to View, close Hidden Windows, and let's do a save. We'll close that one. If you had your title block open, you can close that. Then I'll just close down that section head, which we also saved. Okay, so that's creating a section head and then loading it into the project and looking at it.